Hey, Brett. Hello? I can hear you.
Okay, thanks.
You guys be careful over there. I can only take
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's just after 6 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order, and I want to welcome everybody to our last council meeting of the year there. And everybody's got their hats on here tonight, so we're getting ready for Christmas. So, I'll ask the clerk for the roll call, please.
Your Worship, all members are present with the exception of Councillor Laferriere and Councillor Hewitt.
Thank you very much. Item number 3 is review of revisions or deletions to the agenda. And I've got a motion to be resolved that City Council approves the agenda as printed. Moved by Councillor Jelly, second by Councillor Foley. All in favor? That is carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature? I'll ask the clerk for
Thank you.
Deputy Clerk, sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Foley declared a conflict of pecuniary interest related to Section 15, new business, Item H, memo number 032-2020 CS, QP Local 5014, collective agreement negotiations due to his sister works for the City of Temiskaming Shores. Councillor Foley declared a conflict of pecuniary interest related to Section 19, closed session, Item B, under Section 239(2)D of the Municipal Act 2001, labor relations or employee negotiations, management discussions, negotiations, due to his sister works for the City of Temiskaming Shores. Councillor Laferriere declared a conflict of pecuniary interest related to Section 19, closed session, Item C, under Section 239(2)K of the Municipal Act. Consideration will be given to a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to the negotiations regarding the new Liskrid Marina, as his son is engaged in discussions with the City of Temiskaming Shores regarding the operation and lease of the facility.
Any other conflict of interest tonight? Councillor Foley?
I should have put on there 16, excuse me, the 16, that's bylaw 2020125, entering an agreement between the corporation and City of Temiskaming Shores.
Number 16, okay. So, and just a correction on that first statement there that Councillor Foley's, his father actually works for the City of Temiskaming Shores and not his sister. So, if there's no other conflict of interest, we'll move on to item number 6, the review and adoption of the council minutes. And I've got a motion be resolved that City Council approves the following minutes as printed. A, the regular meeting of council held on December the 1st, 2020. B, the special meeting of council held on December the 8th, 2020. And C, the special meeting of council held on December the 9th, 2020. So, mover, Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor MacArthur. Any comments on those 3 sets of minutes? All in favor? That is carried. There's no special meeting tonight pursuant to the Planning Act, Municipal Act, or other statutes. We have the first question and answer period. I don't appear to be any questions at this point.
No questions at this time, Mayor Kitch.
Thank you, sir. There's no presentation tonight. We'll jump into the communications. 10A is a letter from Trevor Fleck, the Director of Intergovernmental Policy and Program Delivery Branch for the Ministry of Infrastructure. And it's regarding the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund formula-based component, and that was received on December the 1st for information. 10B is a letter from Megan Elliott, the Municipal Clerk for the Town of Kirkland Lake, regarding support for Bill 226, the Broadband is an Essential Service Act, and that was received on December the 3rd for information. 10C is a letter from Ryan Snyder, the Chief Financial Officer for the Cobalt Camp Refinery Limited, regarding a petition of abandonment for drainage works for the Nobe Municipal Drain. And that's been referred to the Municipal Clerk and the Drainage Superintendent for a report to Council at the January 19th, 2021 regular meeting. 10D is a letter from Fred Eisenberger, the Mayor of the City of Hamilton, request for an interim cap on gas plant and greenhouse gas pollution, and the development and implementation of a plan to phase out gas-fired electricity generation. And that's received for information on December the 5th. Also from Fred Eisenberger, the Mayor of the City of Hamilton, is a temporary cap on food delivery service charges. And that was received on the 5th of December as well for information. 10F is a letter from Barbara Noth, the Deputy Clerk Treasurer for the Township of Matachewan, regarding looking for support for Bill 226, the Broadband as an Essential Service Act, received on December the 7th for information. And 10G, a letter from Brian Dobbs, Chair of the Board of the Hillbury Heritage Museum, looking for support for the Great Fire of 1922 Centennial event that's scheduled for October 4th, 2022. That's received on December the 4th. That's been referred to our Economic Development Office. That is 2022, is it, Chris? Not 2021? Okay. Okay, that's 2022. So, be it resolved that, I got a motion, be it resolved that City Council agrees to deal with communication items 10A through 10G according to the agenda references. Mover and seconder, Councillor Jelly, second by Councillor Foley. Any comments, Councillor Jelly?
Yes, Your Worship. I wonder if we give consideration to bringing item D, the letter from Mayor Eisenberger of Hamilton concerning an interim cap on gas plant and greenhouse gas pollution. I believe that's part and parcel of what we're going to be going through with the city with our plan, and I certainly would like to see the government do their share on this, so consideration to bring that back.
Okay. Anything else at this point? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion? That is carried. Item number 11 is the committees of council, community and regional. I got a motion be resolved that the following minutes be accepted for information. A, the minutes of the bicycle-friendly committee meeting held on January the 13th, 2020, the next one on April the 20th, 2020, and the third one on September the 21st, 2020. And also the minutes of the splash pad committee meetings held on March the 4th, April the 21st, April the 28th, September the 30th, and November the 18th, 2020. So we're moving a seconder for that, Councillor MacArthur, seconded by Councillor Whalen. So any comments on those two sets of minutes? Or actually more than that, it was 8 sets of minutes actually. So all in favor? That is carried. There are no committees of council reports tonight. Reports by members of council. Councillor Whalen.
Yeah, just with regards to Temiskaming Municipal Association, the executive sends greetings, Christmas greetings to council. There was no meeting in November, and it doesn't look like we'll be meeting now till into the new year, but any important business that does come up, the executive make phone calls and do deal with the business. So business carries on, but there's no in-person meetings.
Any other reports tonight? Just a couple of letters that I've received today. One was from the Minister of Transportation, Minister Mulrooney, just commenting about the Northern Transportation Plan and putting more money into the rest stops, hopefully in the roads, and also into the possibly into the passenger rail service again there. So that came out this afternoon. Also this morning, I got a letter from Minister Yakubuski regarding the local forest management company that's being set up in Temiskaming, and that was actually approved according to his letter today. So that's been a 7-year process to get that to the cabinet and approved. So that's been quite a struggle there to get that approved for the Temiskaming Forest region there. And also, just want to take a few minutes tonight there to thank one of our long-term city employees who will be retiring on December the 31st. Rick Watson, currently a member of our building maintenance team, will be retiring after 26 years of service with the city of Temiskaming Shores. And throughout his time with the city, Rick has provided outstanding service in various roles amongst multiple city departments. And on behalf of the council and the staff, I want to thank Rick for his years of service and wish him the best in his retirement. So that's after 26 years. So thank you, sir. So, and if nothing else, we'll move on to new business. And we've got some long motions, so bear with me. So. I think Kelly must have done all these motions tonight. 15A is a support for the Township of Evanchero for the 2021 rent freeze. And I got a motion, whereas the District of Temiskaming Social Services Administrative Board in its resolution number 2020-67 dated October the 21st, 2020, approved maintaining the current 2020 rents for 2021 to comply with the Helping Tenants and Small Business Act 2020. And whereas DSAB is concerned regarding the loss of revenue, which will affect the 2021 levy to the 23 member municipalities of DSAB. And whereas Council for the Township of Evanchero adopted a resolution at their November 11, 2020 regular meeting supporting DSAB's concerns and funding requests to offset these revenue losses. Now therefore be resolved that the Corporation of the City of Temiskaming Shores hereby supports the concerns of the District of Temiskaming Social Services Administrative Board as to the loss of revenue resulting from the 2021 rent freeze under the Helping Tenants and Small Business Act 2020, and its request to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing for funding to offset this revenue loss, which will result in a higher levy in 2021 to the municipalities in the District of Temiskaming. And further, that this resolution be sent to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, the Ontario Municipal Social Services Association, and John Vantoff, the MPP for Temiskaming Cochrane. So we're moving a second of that motion. For Councillor Foley, seconded by Councillor MacArthur. Comments? Yes, Councillor Whalen?
Yeah, just for a friendly amendment to that, if it could also be sent to the Northern Ontario Service Deliveries Association, it should go to them before going to the Provincial Association.
So that's the Northern Ontario Service Deliveries Association?
Yep, no, it's that.
No, okay. Everybody in favor of that amendment there? So, Councillor Jelly, comment? Oh, I'll call the question. All in favor? There we go, that's carried. So, 15B, support for the Township of Howick, lower interest rates regarding the tile drain loans. And the motion reads, whereas Council for the Township of Howick adopted a resolution at their November 17, 2020 regular meeting to support for a lower interest rate for the tile drain loans. And whereas installing tile drainage is a common land improvement practice among farmers in Ontario, and the benefits of tile draining for crop productivity, farm efficiencies, and even for reducing environmental impacts have been studied and are generally well known to farmers. And whereas the Tile Loans Program authorized by the Tile Drainage Act provides loans to agricultural property owners to help them finance these tile drainage projects, all tile loans have 10-year terms and repayments are made annually. And whereas the provincial government sets the program interest rate at a competitive level, which was reduced from 8% to 6% in the fall of 2004, and the loan limit was also increased from $20,000 to $50,000 at the same time. And whereas interest rates have continued to decline over the years and the cost per acre for tile drainage has increased over the years, now therefore be it resolved that Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores hereby supports the Township of Howick's request for the Ontario Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs to consider lowering the interest rate on tile drain loans to 4% and increasing the yearly loan amount to $100,000. And further, that this resolution be forwarded to the Honourable Ernie Hardeman, the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, John Vantoff, MPP for Temiskaming Cochrane, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Land Improvement Contractors of Ontario, and the Drainage Superintendents of Ontario Association. So, mover, Councillor Whalen. Second by Councillor Jelly. Any comments? All in favor? That is carried. Maybe Councillor MacArthur would like to read this next motion for me.
Sure, thank you very much, Mayor. I haven't read it over, but we'll get through it.
Just if you're back on the radio, Mike.
Yeah, thank you. You can turn it off. All right, support Township of ESSA Bill 229, Project Support and Recover from COVID-19 Act, Schedule 6, Conservation Authorities Act. Whereas Council for the Township of ESSA adopted a resolution at their November 18, 2020 regular meeting regarding Bill 229 and the impacts of conservation authorities, municipalities, and citizens in Ontario should the bill pass. And whereas the province has introduced Bill 229, Protect, Support, Recover from COVID-19 Act, Schedule 6, Conservation Authorities Act, and whereas the legislation introduces a number of changes and new sections that could remove and or significantly hinder the Conservation Authority's role in regulating development, permit, appeal process, and the engaging in review and appeal of planning applications, and whereas we rely on the watershed expertise provided by local conservation authorities to protect residents, property, and local natural resources on a watershed basis by regulation, development, and engaging in reviews of applications submitted under the Planning Act, and whereas the changes allow the Minister to make decisions without Conservation Authority watershed data and expertise, and whereas the legislation suggests that the Minister will have the ability to establish standards and requirements for non-mandatory programs which are negotiated between the conservation authorities and municipalities to meet local watershed needs, and whereas municipalities believe that the appointment of municipal representatives on conservation authority boards should be a municipal decision, and the chair and the vice chair of the conservation authority board should be duly elected. And whereas the changes to the duty of members contradicts the fiduciary duty of a Conservation Authority Board member to represent the best interests of the Conservation Authority and its responsibility to the watershed, And whereas conservation authorities have already been working with the province, development sector, and municipalities to streamline and speed up permitting and planning approvals through the Conservation Ontario's client service and streamlining initiative, and whereas changes to the legislation will create more red tape and costs for the conservation authorities and their municipal partners, and potentially result in delays in the development approval process, and whereas municipalities value and rely on the natural habitats and water resources within our jurisdiction for the health and well-being of residents, municipalities value the Conservation Authority's work to prevent and manage the impacts of flooding and other natural hazards, and the municipalities value the Conservation Authority's work to ensure safe drinking water. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores hereby supports the Township of Esses in their request that the Province of Ontario repeal Schedule 6 of the Budget Measures Act, Bill 229, that the province continue to work with conservation authorities to find workable solutions to reduce red tape and create conditions of growth, that the province respect the current conservation authority and municipal relationships, and that the province embrace their long-standing partnership with the conservation authorities and provide them with the tools and financial resources they need to effectively implement their watershed management role.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that motion? Councillor Jelly, seconded by Councillor Foley. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
You said it all, Mike.
Thank you.
That is carried. And thank you, Councillor MacArthur, for reading that. I would have been pretty winded after reading that lengthy motion there. I wouldn't be able to continue with the rest of them. So, 15D, support for the Gravel Watch Ontario. Information regarding the aggregate extraction, planning, and rehabilitation. So, the motion reads, be it resolved that the Corporation of the City of Temiskaming Shores supports the position of Gravel Watch Ontario, requesting that the Government of Ontario consult municipalities and communities more broadly to develop and implement regulations which will evaluate and rationalize the supply and demand equation for stone, gravel, and sand, and that regulations need to be applied consistently and clearly, as the lack of clarity is currently costing municipalities and communities, and that the commitment for the rehabilitation of dormant and abandoned pits to their best possible use is made at the time of licensing, and that the province needs to be more responsive and more responsible to residents, communities, and the municipalities which represent them. And further, that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Honourable John Yakubuski, the Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry, and the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, the Associated Municipalities of Ontario, and John Vantoff, the MPP for Temiskaming Cochrane. Moving to second half, Councillor MacArthur, second by Councillor Foley. Any comments? Councillor Whalen?
Yeah, sometimes we don't pay a lot of attention when we ask to bring something back so we can support it. Just wondering exactly, is this group, do they charge for their services? Is it membership based, or? And the only reason I ask is because now we're sending in a resolution to the Minister Yakubuski on with all these recommendations saying how come you don't consult with municipalities. But the province just redid the Aggregate Act. Took them about 14 months. You could go on the environmental registry and comment. I don't believe council ever sent a letter or a motion up until the time as the act was amended. So I'm just wondering why 6 months later we're hopping on the bandwagon. I'm not opposed to it, we had the opportunity and we didn't take it, so. And then we got sent this letter. Is this a for-profit organization or not-for-profit?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we haven't been part of that Aggregates Act, North and North Bay, for many, many years, and I think this latest revision did sort of tie in Northern Ontario and Northeastern Ontario in that Aggregates Act, I think, this last amendment, so.
No, the Aggregate Act applies to all of Ontario. It's only the royalties that don't apply North and North Bay.
Okay.
Everybody could comment on the changes, amendments to legislation, though.
You recommend that we hold this for now and just do some more research, Dan? Would that be a...
It's just, we got this letter, and they said yada, 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 and we're supporting them, but I've never heard of them up until the letter came in, so...
Chris?
I've Googled them, but I didn't find anything.
So it may be worthwhile, so I haven't heard of them either. On the agenda, this came back from the last agenda, we had just referenced it for information, but I know Councillor Hewitt had asked for it to come back. Since she's not here tonight, maybe it would be worthwhile deferring it and to find out, you know, what her reasons were for wanting to bring it back for a resolution of support.
Yeah, that may be wise. It's just, my concern is if the minister phones the mayor and says, well, where were you for 14 months? It's not going to look good, so we should know the details before we support it.
We have a motion just to defer this, do some more research on it. Moved by Councillor Jelly, second by Councillor Foley. So, all in favor that we defer this motion to the next council meeting to do some more research. So, thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to 15E, the 2021 municipal operating budget. A motion whereas staff presented the 2021 municipal operating budget to council at the special meeting on December the 8th. Now therefore be resolved that council for the city of Temiskaming Shores hereby adopts in principle its 2021 municipal operating budget estimates utilizing a 1% increase in the municipal tax levy as follows, and you'll see all the amounts in there. And further that the council adopts in principle the 2021 environmental operating budget estimates utilizing a 1% increase as follows, and it's listed the amounts there as well. So we're moving and second to that motion. Councillor Whalen moved it, second by Councillor Foley. Any comments? So I think it's an excellent budget. We've got it approved very early in the year, so that's a great thing. So all in favor of that motion? That is carried. And 15F was 2021 municipal capital budget. And the motion reads, whereas staff presented the 2021 municipal capital budget to council at a special meeting on December the 9th, 2020. Now therefore be resolved that council hereby adopts in principle the 2021 general capital budget estimated as follows, and further that the council hereby adopts in principle the 2021 environmental capital budget estimates as follows in there as well. So moving and second, Councillor MacArthur, second by Councillor Jelly. Any comments? Councillor Whalen.
Yeah, I could have said it on the last resolution as well, but during the presentation, the last council meeting, they showed a graph that about 50% of the expenses that council faces and staff aren't, we don't have much say in, and that extends into the capital budget as well as far as required reporting and everything. So when you take that, you think about that 50% is deemed that we will pay. I think this is a very good budget, so I appreciate all the work.
Yep. So, yeah, to stay at 1% there, 1% for water and sewer, it's we've got a lot of work planned here, and it's a lot of operating costs that we've got to build in there as well. So I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion? That is carried. 15G, approval of attendance at various conferences. And the first one is the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, FNOM, and the motion reads, be resolved that council for the city of Temiskaming Shores approves the attendance of myself, Councillor Hewitt, Councillor LaFerrier, and Councillor MacArthur at the virtual Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities conference scheduled for May the 8th to the 11th, 2021. And the council acknowledges that Councillor Whalen will also be attending the FNOM conference as president of the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, and further be it resolved that the expenses incurred in attending the said conference be covered in accordance with the municipal business travel and expense policy. So, we're moving second, Councillor Jelly, second by Councillor Foley. All in favor? That is carried. Next one is the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO. And the motion reads, be it resolved that council for the city of Temiskaming Shores approves the attendance of Councillor MacArthur at the annual Association of Municipalities of Ontario virtual conference scheduled for August the 15th to the 18th, 2021. And the council acknowledges that Councillor Whalen will also be attending the AMO conference as president of the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities. And further, be it resolved that the expenses incurred in attending the said conference be covered in accordance with the municipal business and travel expense policy. Moved by Councilor Whalen, second by Councilor Foley. Any comments? All in favor? That is carried. 15H is Memo 032-2020 CS, QP Local 5014 Collective Agreement. And Councillor Foley has disclosed his pecuniary interest with this item, therefore he will not participate in the discussion on the subject matter and will not vote on this. The motion reads, be resolved that Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores acknowledge receipt of Memo 032-2020 CS, and the Council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to enter into a collective agreement between the Corporation of the City of Temiskaming Shores and the Canadian Union of Public Employees, CUPE, and its Local 5014 for the period covering January 1st, 2021 through to December 31st, 2023 for consideration at the December 15th, 2020 regular council meeting. So, mover and second that motion, Councilor MacArthur, second by Councilor Jelly. Any comments, discussion? All in favor? That is carried. 15I is Memo 033-2020 CS, the Community Committee Appointments Update, and I got a motion to be resolved the Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores acknowledge receipt of Memo 033-2020 CS, and the Council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to amend Bylaw 2019-018 as amended to appoint community representatives to various committees and boards for the 2019 to 2022 term of council for consideration at the December 15, 2020 regular council meetings. Mover and second, Councilor Whalen, second by Councilor Foley. All in favor? That is carried. 15J is Administrative Report CS 049-2020, the zoning bylaw amendment. And the motion reads, be resolved that Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report CS 049-2020. The Council agrees to amend the provisions of the City of Temiskaming Shores zoning bylaw 2017-154 to permit to zone change from community facilities CF to high density residential exception. It's 19 R419. And the Council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to amend the City of Temiskaming Shores zoning bylaw 2017-154 for consideration at the December 15th, 2020 regular council meeting later tonight. So, moving and seconding for that motion, Councilor Jelly, second by Councilor Foley. Any comments? All in favor? That is carried. 15K Administrative Report CS 050-2020, the former New Liskeard and Hillbury Library Buildings request for tender results. And I got a motion to be resolved that Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report CS 050-2020. The Council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to enter into an agreement with Woodland Heritage Northeast Limited to authorize the sale of land being 50 Whitewood Avenue, Plan M22NB, part of lot 29 to 30, PCL parcel number 1487 NND, in the amount of $275,000 plus taxes, if applicable, with a closing date of March the 1st, 2021, for consideration at the December 15, 2020 regular council meeting. And the council delegates authority to the municipal clerk for the purposes of negotiation and decision-making on the presentation of offers resulting from the real estate listing of the former Hillbury Library branch building is located at 545 Lakeshore Road. Moved by Councilor MacArthur, second by Councilor Foley. Any comments? All in favor? That is carried. 15L is Administrative Report CS 051-2020, the Grant Municipal Drain Repair. And I got a motion be resolved the Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report CS 051-2020, and the Council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to enter into an agreement with Pedersen Construction 2013 Incorporated for the repair of the Grant Municipal Drain in the amount of $9,537.20 plus applicable taxes for consideration at the December 15, 2020 regular council meeting. So, we move by Councilor Whalen, second by Councilor Jelly. All in favor? That is carried. And 15M, Memo 017-2020 RS, the project extension for accessibility upgrades to the Don Shepardson Memorial Arena. And the motion reads, be resolved that council for the city of Temiskaming Shores acknowledge receipt of Memo 017-2020 RS, that council direct staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to amend bylaw 2020-034 to enter an agreement with Her Majesty the Queen and Right of Canada as represented by Employment and Social Development Canada for accessibility upgrades at the Don Shepard Memorial Arena. Project number is 1591799 for consideration at the December 15th, 2020 regular council meeting. So we're moving a seconder for that motion. Moved by Councillor Jelly, second by Councillor Foley. Any comments? The Recreation Director is in the house. We can ask some questions. All in favor of that motion? That is carried. 15N, Administrative Report RS-011-2020, the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Plan. And I got a motion to be resolved that the Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores acknowledge the receipt of Administrative Report RS-011-2020. The Council acknowledges receipt of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Plan prepared by VIP Energy. And the Council directs staff to investigate improvements to the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Plan through further consultation with community partners and the public. So, move by Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor Jelly. Comments? Councillor Jelly.
Yes, I read through this extensively, and as a matter of fact, I read it a couple times to make sure I was on board with what I was reading. And I think this is a great idea, and I just want to suggest that we strongly involve our staff in this, or let's have consultations with them. And there, some of our frontline workers might have some very good ideas on how we can stop some emissions. So, I'd just like to see kind of everyone involved in this to a certain degree. Thank you.
Yeah, Mitch has been working with VIP now for probably 2 years, I would think now, on this whole plan there. So, Councillor Jelly?
Yeah, and I'm suggesting right back to our frontline workers.
Yeah,
I mean, they're the important workers in our city and the ones that are out there every day, and I think we might be surprised what they could contribute to this.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Pleasantly surprised.
Okay. We'll pass it on there. That's great. Any other comments? All in favor? That is carried. Councillor MacArthur.
Yes, Mayor, just before we get into the bylaws, could we go back to H? When we were voting for the contract with the union and management, I didn't see your hand go up because we need 4 votes, and I wanted to make sure you're on record that you voted, because that would make the 4 of us, because Councillor Foley didn't vote, and the same with the bylaw coming up.
Well,
I just wanted to make sure that we had 4 votes.
I'm definitely in favor of that, so the clerk can
Thank you.
record that it's a 4-vote majority. So unanimous support, I should say, is probably the best word. So. And I did miss something when I was started. We skipped over the notice of motions in the agenda, so I'll just go back to that. Anybody got any notice of motions tonight that they want to bring forward? So okay, moving on. Bylaws. Now, Jesse said he was declaring a conflict on which one? The 2021-25. So we'll deal with that one first, I guess. Be resolved the bylaw 2020-125 being a bylaw to enter into a collective agreement between the corporation of the City of Temiskaming Shores and the Canadian Union of Public. Be resolved that bylaw 2020-125 be given third and final reading, be signed by the mayor and clerk, and the corporate seal affixed there too. So moved by Councillor Whalen and second by Councillor Jelly. Any last comments on that particular bylaw? All in favor? That would be carried. So, and Councillor Foley declared his conflict on those. So we'll go back to the other bylaws. Bylaw be resolved that bylaw 2020-124 being a bylaw to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw number 2017-154 to rezone 333 Work Avenue from community facilities CF to high density residential exception as 19, as a R4 19. Zone to permit the conversion of the existing former Hillbury School into apartment dwellings. Also bylaw 2020-126 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2019-018 for the committee appointments. Bylaw 2020-127, being a bylaw to authorize the sale of the former Niliska Branch Library at 50 Whitewood Avenue to Woodland Heritage Northeast Limited. Bylaw 2020-128, being a bylaw to enter an agreement with Pedersen Construction 2013 Incorporated for the repair of the Grant Municipal Drain. And lastly, bylaw 2020-129, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2020-034, the funding agreement for accessibility upgrades to the Don Chepson Memorial Arena. These bylaws be introduced and given first and second reading. Moved by Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor Jelly. All in favor? That is carried. And motion be resolved that bylaw 2020-124, 126, 127, 128, and 129 be given third and final reading, be signed by the mayor and clerk, and the corporate seal affixed thereto. Moved by Councillor Foley, second by Councillor MacArthur. Any last comments? All in favor? That is carried. Scheduled meetings. The next one is set for Tuesday, January the 5th in the new year, 2021 at 6 p.m. And the next regular council meeting is Tuesday, January 19th, 2021 at 6 p.m. as well. So, Chris has always got comments.
Yeah, I believe there's 4. I'm just making sure. So, Ida Hilson from Market Street had expressed concern about the December 5th, 2020 event at Riverside Place, and stated she felt people shouldn't have attended. Ida Hilson also asked her at the mall and stated that there's a need for more apartments in the community. Dan Dawson, why do members of council not have to disclose the reason that they are unable to attend a meeting? Okay, Dan just sent another one. A few meetings ago, the mayor expressed concerns over attendance. It was suggested a public record be made, and that leads to a question from Brian Hughes regarding a report on council committee meeting attendance. That one I can give council an update on. We were waiting just on a couple committees that we've just in the last couple of days gotten the finalized meetings. We're waiting on one committee. The BIA was looking for some meetings back from 2019, and I'm hoping to have that information tonight, and Kelly has been working diligently on the report. So there will be a full report on all of your council meetings. You have 5 internal committees, so your Building Maintenance Committee, Public Works Committee, Corporate Services Committee, Recreation Committee, and there are 21 community or regional committees that we will also be reporting on. So it will be a fairly extensive list of all of those committees that council has representatives on, and that report will be available for both council and for the public in the public agenda package for the January 5th meeting. So that one I can answer that one question from Brian.
That'll have all the council reports and the remuneration.
The remuneration and all council meetings, internal committee meetings, and regional committees as well.
Okay, good. No, I thank.
So it will be an extensive list. So that covers 26 committees plus your council meetings.
Okay. So thanks, Kelly, for doing all that research. It's been a lot of work. Councillor Whelan?
Yeah, just to, if I may follow up on your comments earlier about a letter you got from Minister Yakubuski on your forest management plan. I just want to say that a lot of people locally don't realize just how many of their neighbors are employed by the forest sector. The government redid the forest growth strategy this year. It's a great document. We also lobbied and had the Endangered Species Act removed from the Forest Sustainability Act because there was a lot of conflict and held up a lot of jobs. So those are all good news for the forest sector, and we're really happy with them. But the load of the work for the forest sector really is done through the forest management plan that the mayor's been working on. Just commented, I think he said it took 7 years. Probably take you about 3 years to finish your cut. So people don't realize that, but what's cut is local decision. What type of trees are chosen and all that, it's all decided locally. So that's a lot of work, and it's great for the area. So congratulations to everybody that was involved in that.
Yeah, I'll go back to his comments in a minute, but I'll just expand upon that. This is quite a deal that we've actually worked out. This has got the 4 Indigenous communities on site as well. They've been quite involved in this whole process, as well as the 3-4 major industry partners as well, Ecom, Georgia Pacific, and Goulard Lumber, and some of our local smaller mills as well, South Wabi Sawmill. So I mean, that's going to keep these industries going for the next 15, 20 years. They'll still have their wood allocations, and they'll do all the silver culture to replace, get the new trees planted in that Tamale Forest unit, and it's going to allow the local people, both Indigenous and the people of Tamale, to develop other industries, value-added industries for that as well, and that's something that the First Nations are really looking at. They've been sort of cut out of the whole process for many years with some of the major companies taking all the wood supply out of there, but this will allow them to actually develop their own companies and market some of that wood as well. So it's quite a thing. We've had ups and downs over the last 7 years that we didn't even know as of about October whether it was all going to fall apart or not. But this has gone through, and everybody's signed letters of support from all different groups, and the ministry has now signed off. It's gone through cabinet, and they'll be setting up this interim board by January, February, and then they'll develop the actual formal board appointees. It'll go through the secretariat appointments, whatever, through the minister as well, that actually will appoint the actual members of the board. So it's a good news story all the way around. It employs a lot of people, and we just unveiled that sign there for the wood industry on Friday, and that's sort of recognizing the value and the amount of jobs that are created in the district for wood there as well. So just going back to Ida's comments, that supper, I mean, it was following the provincial guidelines as far as the number of people is limited to capped at 50. It did have approval from the Ministry of Health, not the Ministry of Health, but the health unit, local health unit, and the inspectors to carry on that supper there. And they delivered a lot of lunches and had a lot of lunches picked up there. So it did meet all the criteria, both for the health unit and the province of Ontario. So, I mean, it could have happened anyway. We've got a lot of people coming in the area. There's a lot of people moving here. So it's just a matter of chance that somebody picked up the virus. Bus shelters, I guess we're still discussing that with the Transit Committee. Chris?
Yes, I could provide an update on that. So we have been in contact with Temiskaming Plaza on a number of occasions. So their proposal, which they remain firm on, is basically the furthest away from the entrances into any of the stores at the mall. So we have advised them that we don't feel that the location they're willing to provide would actually meet the needs of the transit riders, would require them to go the furthest away, and would also interrupt the bus going into the mall, the path. It would cause us more time in there. We suggested another alternative to them. They refused that. So as of right now, we're at a bit of a standstill as far as a bus shelter at the mall. Certainly the Transit Committee recognizes the need for one there because the middle entrance is no longer available for anyone waiting for the bus. But we're really at the mercy of the property owner for a placement of that. But to expend, it costs about $7,000 to put in a bus shelter. To expend $7,000 from the furthest, so it would basically be near the entrance of the, where the Food Basic entrance from the highway is. It would be in one of those parking spots near that entrance. basically the furthest you could get from any of the store entrances. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend $7,000 when we know people aren't going to walk across the parking lot in the winter with several bags of groceries to go and wait for the bus. They'll just wait for the bus in front of the store entrances. So we will continue to work towards that, but as of right now, we are at a bit of a standstill with Temiskaming Plaza as far as a placement that we feel the users and patrons of the transit system will use.
Councillor Jelly?
Yeah, that's certainly disheartening when you hear something like that. I suggest that they're saying, I don't even think that portion of the lot is paved. Could be, but I don't believe it's all paved over there, and it's first thing that comes to my mind is the danger it's going to put the people in with traffic walking there, carrying parcels, snow removal, etc. So that's quite disheartening in that aspect.
And that's close to where they dump the snow in that corner as well, and there's quite a pond of water quite often in that corner of the parking lot as well, so it's not ideal at all. So, any other comments? Councillor Jelly, yeah?
Yes, I don't have a comment concerning council business necessarily, but I would like to take this time. It's been a very difficult year for most of us this year with COVID-19 throughout our city and throughout Canada, actually. But I just wanted to take a few minutes to thank my fellow members of council for, I think we had a very good year considering what we've been up against. We've done our best. We certainly have had the support of our staff, and I thank them, the staff in City Hall, the frontline workers in recreation and public works, and they've done a great job this year. So I think it's just, we owe them a great deal of gratitude for the hard work and helping us get through this year. So I'd just like to, wish everybody the best of this season and really encourage everybody to stay safe, have a good Christmas, but stay safe, and we'll see you all back here in January.
Thank you, sir. No, well said there. So that was great there. So, no, between family commitments and work commitments here, it's been a very difficult year there with kids being off school and going back there now. So it's been a very difficult year, and I think everybody's finally getting through it, and there's a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel that we can get the vaccine out in the next 6 or 8 months. That by next fall, schools maybe should be all back to normal, and then we can get through the holiday season next year. But so, just one more comment that Ida had was that she needs more apartments, and then maybe this renovation at the Hillsbury Public School, turning that into apartments will help the Hillsbury area as far as providing more apartments, and I think we're getting some more housing in the Nisgaard area and Diamond area as well. So I think it bodes well. We've got a lot of people moving into the area, and we've got a lot of people that's going to increase our assessment over the years as well. So any other questions?
The only one that Dan had asked about members disclosing the reason, so I don't think our procedural bylaw says that we state that. If that is something, I don't need a decision tonight, but if that is something council wishes the clerk's department to ask members of council and have it recorded in the minutes, then we could look at our procedural bylaw to do that, but I believe it's absent. I'd have to check for sure, but I don't believe we've ever stated the reason that a member is not attending. But
no, for the most part, the clerk or myself gets notified in an email saying whether they're sick or not feeling well, whatever. I mean, we've been basically telling staff to stay home and isolate if they're not feeling well. We're basically doing the same thing with council. If they're not feeling well and they don't want to pass on any germs, that they notify us and excuse themselves from coming to council meetings as well. But I think most times they do disclose why they're not attending, but I don't pass it on. So if council wants me to pass that information on, Councillor Whalen?
Yeah, we also have to check the municipal act, because it says a councillor can be absent for so long without explanation, so we can't override that.
No, everybody's allowed to miss 3 consecutive meetings in a row there without consequence. So 3 months, yes, sorry, yeah, 3 months. So, any other comments tonight? If not, we've got a motion be resolved that council agrees to convene in closed session at, let's say 7 o'clock. And we are assigning cards to all the firemen that had long service awards that were announced last council meeting, so we'll get all those Christmas cards signed while we're in the break here. So be it resolved that City Council agrees to convene the closed session at 7 p.m. to discuss the following matters: A, the adoption of the December 1st, 2020 closed session minutes. B, under Section 239(2)D of the Municipal Act 2001, labor relations or employee negotiations, management discussions, and we'll deal with that at the end. And item C, under Section 239(2)K of the Municipal Act, consideration will be given to a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to negotiations regarding the Liskeard Marina. So that's the three items moved by Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor Foley. Chris, you had a comment, sir?
I'll let you pass that.
Okay, all in favor of that motion? We are now, quick break. Chris is going to make a comment.
So, Erin Thompson, I missed a question, I'm sorry, and she said I missed it, I just looked. So Erin Thompson had a question, what meant amiss with the dinner takeout on December 5th? Has the Temiskaming Health Unit provided any answers or suggestions or alterations to our protocols?
I don't think anything was amiss at all. I mean, they followed the provincial guidelines, they followed the health unit guidelines. I mean, it just happened that one or two had come in contact, possibly the week before or the couple of days before that supper, and they just happened to be there at that supper, and everybody's been going through contact tracing of all the people that were attended there to make sure they're aware that there was somebody present that had the coronavirus. And they didn't find out until actually the Thursday after the supper that anybody really was positive. So nobody knew when the supper was going on that there were any cases prevalent in the area at all. So I mean, it's just one of those things. It happened, and we're just been very lucky up to this point that we haven't had more cases. So I hope that answers the question there. So.
And that's it now.
Okay. Okay, we'll adjourn for 7 or 8 minutes, and then we'll get back into our closed session, and we'll deal with a couple of closed session items. So